What is up, guys? James here from the Light of Riga YouTube channel, and in this video we're going to be doing a reading for all my Sagittarian sun sign friends. If you were born between the dates of November 22nd and December 21st, then you are a Sagittarius sun sign, and this video is for you. October is here, we're halfway through. It's time to get into the spirit of things if we haven't already, and that's what we're going to be doing today. Partly the idea for this video was brought to us by Atypical Tarot. He's got a great YouTube channel where he mixes tarot and metaphysics with science. It's super interesting, very informative, so I hope you guys will all check out his channel. I'll put a link to his channel in the description box below. So thank you to Atypical Tarot for this idea. And his idea was for me to use kind of my darker decks this month and really get into the spirit of Samhain and Halloween. So that's what we're doing. And today we're talking about blockages. We all have blockages of some kind. And these are things that are kind of within us that are in our way from advancement. And today we're going to be talking about blockages of the mind, body, and soul. And we're going to be using a different tarot deck for each category. We have the Dark Grimoire Tarot, the Omega Land Tarot, and the Mortem Oraculum for today's reading. So it's going to get dark and spooky. One thing I want to say is that, this reading is supposed to be difficult. I did this reading for myself and I got kind of sad and depressed and kind of angry. But I realized that what that means is that this reading struck a nerve. And if you feel that way when listening to this reading, that's a good thing. If you feel uncomfortable because of this reading, that means we've pinpointed something and we now know which direction we can head. If you know what shadow lies within you, you now know which direction you can head to go into the opposite direction. So it's a beneficial thing, it's healing, and that's why we're bringing it to you today. So let's get into it. So without further ado, this card here represents blockages of the mind for Sagittarian sun signs. Mental blockages, and we've got the Five of Pentacles. Oh man, okay. The feeling I'm getting from this card is that mentally, and this is not going to resonate with everyone, I want to put that out there as well. So take what works for you, leave the rest. But I think a lot of you in the mind, you see yourself as separate. You see yourselves as not part of the group, kind of out in the cold by yourself. And I think it's not true. I think this is something your ego mind is telling you, and it's causing separation, right? If you think that you're not part of the group, then you've created a reality where you're not part of the group. You've created that, not because of some outside influence, but because of the way you think. If you think of yourself as a loner, as an outlier, then that's the reality you're going to create, and that's what will be true. So I think what we need to do here is start to realize that we're part of a community. Start to realize that you are an individual, but at the same time you can help a group dynamic become more dynamic by bringing your special energy into it. But you also have to have this mentality where you're part of the whole. We're all part of source. We are all source energy. We're all the same thing. And any ideas or thoughts that separate you from that idea is just not true. It's negative. It's low vibrational thinking. So I think mentally, I think a lot of you Sagittarians need to feel more a part of something. And I encourage you to realize that if you've created separation, you can also create togetherness and unity. Make sense? Hopefully. I don't know. We'll see. This card here represents blockages of the body. These are physical blockages. And while not necessarily pertaining to the body, more about the physical world and how you navigate through it, we've got the Nine of Cups. Complacency is kind of the feeling that I'm getting here. Perhaps complacency is stopping you from putting as much effort into things as you should be, or could be, I should say. When we have some success in the world and we kind of fall back on our laurels, we rest on them. We rest on our laurels and we say, I've created a pretty good life here. I'm just gonna stay here. I like it here, right? But you're neglecting the ability for you to advance even further, right? It's like you get a little bit of success and you're like, that is great, I'm just gonna sit in this success. But you're capable of so much more, and there should always be forward movement. You should always be putting energy into something and growing and expanding things in your life. And I think I get the feeling that complacency is kind of stopping you from advancing. And again, this is not going to resonate with all of you, but I think a lot of you might feel this. Hopefully that's the idea, that you just kind of I don't know. Maybe this is a resistance to change. Maybe you don't want to change stuff. So you tell yourself, everything I have now is great. It's perfect. It's exactly what I want. But maybe you're just telling yourself that so that you don't have to try any harder. So you don't have to accept change. Think about that for a little while and see if that resonates. Success is good. And it seems like you have it, and you're emotionally happy, but how much happier could you be if you put more energy into this physical world? If you put more action? If you did more? Not to say you should always be running around with like a chicken with your head cut off, but we need breaks, of course, from time to time, and once in a while it's great to just sit back on your laurels and just show gratitude for all that you have. That's great, but you can't stay there forever. You have to keep on moving forward. Alright, let's go on to this last card. This is when things get kind of real, okay? Because we're talking about blockages to the soul. And it gets kind of real because, this deck was painted in human blood, but we're also talking about the soul and what blockages you have soul-wise. And we've got a very scary looking bat and initiation. Give me a moment with this card. The word initiation is definitely standing out. To me, it's about starting something. And I think your soul wants to start a new thing. And you're resistant to that. I think your soul is ready for a big change. A shift in your life. A dramatic shift. But I think you're resistant to taking those first few steps. A lot of you may know that it's time for a change. And a lot of you may know which direction it's time to change into. But I think taking those first few steps is your blockage. I think you're not ready to do it. Or you don't want to do it for whatever reason. Maybe you're truly not ready, but your soul says you're ready. So I think your soul knows. I think your higher self knows what you're ready for. So it's a matter of stripping down those blockages. Why are you resistant to starting the change? Why are you afraid of doing those first few things that are going to cause massive change? What are you afraid of? Why do you view change as something that's to be feared or something that's negative? I think you need to ask yourself those questions, and I think answering those questions will help you to remove some of the blockages. Once you understand yourself a little bit more and your motivations and why you do things, I think it's easier to pinpoint your blockages, and it's easier to transmute them and to remove them. So I think that's some questions you need to ask yourself, Sagittarian friends. Why are you resistant to change? Why won't you take those first steps? So now that we've seen these cards as a whole, 3 different messages, I think mentally you kind of feel separation. You feel like you're not one of the pack or the crowd, and maybe you just feel maybe loneliness, but maybe not. Some of you may feel loneliness as a result, but this is all a construct of your mind. You've created this. If you wanted to be part of a group, you would be. But your mind is saying, no, I don't want it. Like a little kid, I don't want it. I don't want to take a bath. Physically, I think you have put a lot of effort into your life and into in action into the world, and you've created for yourself, and you've made some great things, and you're happy with it. But I think maybe you could do more. I think you could improve. You could expand even further. But you have to stop resting on your laurels. And I think as far as your soul is ready for something new. Your soul is ready to get up and put it in action that's going to cause change. And I think there's something stopping you from doing that. And you have to figure out, why are you fearing change? Massive change. We're not talking like, change of wardrobe. We're talking massive change here. So your soul's ready for it, I think. Alright, that's the reading. I hope that resonated. Again, this is supposed to feel a little uncomfortable. Hopefully it did, which means we struck a nerve, which means we can move towards healing. So I want to thank you for sitting through that, and thank you for being willing to face your dark side. Remember, this is a general reading. Not everything's meant to apply. So if you want a specific reading with me, you can go to my website, lightofriga.com. The link is in the description box below. And be sure to do all the YouTube stuff, the liking, the sharing, subscribing, the commenting. It really helps my channel a lot. It helps my channel to grow. So I really do appreciate everything you can do in that regard. So thank you for that. And that is going to be it. I want to wish you a happy October, my Sagittarian friends. I want to wish you love and light. Leave a like if you enjoyed this. Happy taroting. Peace.